Are here since I scheduled this for 5 a.m. instead of right now. Welcome, everybody. Haven't done that one in a while. Let me see the chat, see if this works. I think it works, even if it's late. We're going to find out. I just noticed it right now. I'm like 5 a.m. Seriously? Oh, my God. Anyway, let me know if this is actually working. There's the chat. Did it actually work? 5 a.m. Oh, did I put it for 5 a.m. tomorrow? I don't know what the heck I did. Anyway, I noticed it saying 5 a.m., but I thought it was 5 a.m. this morning. It means 5 a.m. tomorrow. Oh, well. Well, we're live anyway. Now, it does mean people won't be getting the notification, which sucks. You think people will find it anyway? I mean, worst comes to worst, I could always cancel and start again so it sends the notification. But because I screwed up, I set it for 5 a.m. by accident. It was, oh well. I just noticed it right now, literally. Let me adjust. So I'm trying to adjust the camera here a little bit. Oops. That's pretty good. You were here. Yes, exactly. Exactly. The award goes to whoever showed up at 5 a.m. Well, I guess it sends it. Okay, so it's sending a notification that I'm live anyway. Okay, good. Okay, then it is doing it. Yeah, like I said, I set the time wrong, but what do you do? Well, so actually, that's good to know, though, that it doesn't. I was afraid after time, after the deadline when I screwed up, it would just wipe it out. All right, let me start TikTok. We're going to do a casual episode today. I prepared some, but I was like, you know what? Too much going on. I'd rather do a hangout, so we're going to do this as our hangout instead of Saturday's hangout. Let me get this going. Boom. Let me get TikTok set up. It always takes me a second to get TikTok set up. Anyway, what do you do? Oh, that's good. Okay, so the live did show anyway. That's actually very good to know. Okay, well, that's good. I'm glad for that. Let me see here. Let me see. So I'm pulling up the TikTok GIFs really quick, just for fun. Diva's hat. I do kind of like the name on that one. Let's put it up. Diva's hat. Diva works. Okay, Ukraine war. I'm going to say hangout instead of update since we're hanging out today. I did check the news, but nonetheless, this is the hangout mode we're doing instead. Go live. Oops, there we go. Oh, thank you, Stephanie. Hey, Sally in the UK. All right, there we go. TikTok is loading. Excellent. All right. Woo. And my allergies are kicking in. God knows why. But I'll live anyway. So welcome, everybody. This is my normal show. Normally the show is... Anyway, let me welcome TikTok to Welcome TikTokers. Getting rolling a little late, but that's okay. So I'm getting ready to fly out tonight, so I'm trying to... actually, pretty productive afternoon. So I took a nap, finished packing, lots of little things. Anyway, hello all. Manda Bear will lose their subscription benefits soon. Oh no! Actually, I think I can now give the mods access to TikTok. I think to TikTok, to the TikTok weekend stuff. I think I messaged you guys about that. I think so. Sword never got to me, so I don't know. Tree Robotype, he never was able to reach out to me on Discord. So, I don't know. There was no way to figure it out. Hey, Von Sparklebum. Yeah, guys, why don't we do our usual starting where you kind of tell me where you're all from? In today's show, we are going to hang out. I intentionally, because I'm flying out tonight to Asia at midnight, horrific time, I figured I would do more of a hangout with you guys now. So this is much more casual. This way, I can actually look at the screen and we can have a conversation. Whereas normally the first half of the show are 45 minutes. I'm not looking at the screen as much. So this way we will. He posted in the Ukraine chat, except he didn't at me. I don't think, or I would have seen it. Oh, thank you. Who was that with the gift? Thank you, Ryan, for the gift. All right, let me open Tree Robotai's question on Discord if I can find it. Hang on, guys. The sound is going to be worse today because I boxed away my I've got my big microphone for YouTube, but my little microphone I use for TikTok when I'm traveling is already packed up. Thank you, Ryan. That's my diva. They're calling it a diva hat. But yes, I packed up my little portable microphone to bring to Asia with me so I can possibly use it there. I didn't want to forget it. Thank you, Jen. I didn't want to forget it, so I intentionally packed it up now because I'm always afraid of like having stuff lay around, like my iPad, for example, which I need to make sure I pack later because it's sitting right here looking at me. Hang on, guys. Let me look at the Ukraine chat and see what Tree Robitaille. Yesterday we had a question from Tree Robitaille who wasn't able to get it through. Like he was being censored for some reason. Okay, except now I've got a whole conversation you all had with him. Here we go. Okay, there we go. Yep, Sword. I did find Sword's question. Okay, we'll get to that in a second then. Good, I found it. Excellent. Anyway, welcome everybody. So I am John Aravosis. This is the Aravosis Report. Thank you, Sean. Interesting, Zach. Yeah, I mean, the news, Zach said, he sort of wasn't following the news as closely the last few months. It's been a little, it's a little iffier right now. I mean, after Republicans in Congress cut off all American aid to Ukraine, and there's just a little bit left in the pipeline, things are getting scary. The Russians blew up a thermal power generator, what Vlad was talking about. Basically a power plant last night, a very large one, and destroyed it. Putin is now going full hog, if he wasn't before, on trying to destroy Ukraine's energy system, just to destroy all the energy in the country. And, guess what? Ukraine doesn't have enough defenses, which they've been saying all along, and we screwed them. I mean, we gave Ukraine, maybe they've got 3 Patriot missile batteries. The Patriot missile batteries cover, I'm trying to think, guys, is it something like 20 miles or something? Does anybody remember 20, 25 miles they can cover, I think? It's not that big, right? So you kind of need 2 for a city like Kyiv, and maybe there's a third that they move around the country. Well, Kharkiv needs Patriot missile batteries now, too. Kharkiv doesn't have it because we shortchanged Ukraine. 20 miles, that's what I thought, Wicked. Yeah, about around 20 miles, which might be 30 kilometers or so. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. So, yeah, the attacks are getting worse. Ukraine's running out of weapons, out of air defenses. Europe, I think, could try to do more, but it's America that fell down. And we are at fault, yes. Two people are at fault. MAGA Republicans and Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Joe Biden, because he wanted this war to be a tie. Biden could have won this thing in the first year or two. He chose not to. Thank you, John, because he was afraid of Putin. Biden was afraid of beating Putin. So we ended up being at a tie when the Republicans cut off all aid to Ukraine, right? I mean, think about it, right? Republicans cut off all aid and they're at a tie. Well, the fact that they were at a tie and got the aid cut off meant they're losing now. I mean, thank you, Richard. Thank you, Danan. Right? I mean, thank you, John S. If Biden had helped Ukraine more in those first 2 years and hadn't been afraid, and by the way, the French and the Germans were afraid too. I mean, Macron suddenly Mr. Brave. He was chicken, as was Scholz in Germany. Had they helped Ukraine the way they should have helped Ukraine, Ukraine could have gotten most of its land back by now, maybe even be putting Crimea at risk. And that would have been a whole other ballgame in terms of where they are. But we left Ukraine at a standstill, and then the Republicans cut the money. So it's you know what I mean? Like one person let the patient stay really sick, which was Biden, and the other person then pulled out all the medicine. But the first person only gave half the medicine anyway, so the patient remained sick, right? So that's why, I blame Biden and the Republicans both for this. It's sick. Thank you, Sharon. Kind of pissing me off, like I said. So Tree Robitaille, I finally found his question he was trying to submit yesterday. So today we're going to do this as a hangout. We're going to talk. I figured, I'm flying out to Asia tonight. It wasn't worth too much going on today for me to spend hours preparing for the show. So I did look over the news to see the latest news, but I figured this way we can hang out and talk. And also, this way I can actually see your questions from the beginning, which is good. So, Sort of Justice was asking, why can't Ukraine use tear gas or mustard gas on the Russians at Zaporizhia and on the Russians in general to repel the Russians? Seven's Ghost says the Geneva Convention prohibits it. Sorry, they're having a discussion on this. Thank you, Janice. Interesting. Sevens Ghost says, ironically, tear gas that is used by police is prohibited in war. There can be workarounds. For example, silencers are prohibited so the military uses sound suppressors. Interesting. Okay, yeah, I am not an expert on the use of chemical weapons in warfare. So there you go. But I guess folks answered you anyway, which is good. Thank you, Kimberly. Kimberly got me a super chat gift, I guess. Hey, Scott, over at TikTok. Good to see you. Good evening to you. And who is this? Bash. Just curious, will you see the film Civil War? Is that not some crazy MAGA right-wing film? I think it is. If it is, no. But correct me if I'm wrong. Is that not what that Civil War film is? Where kind of they're all getting a hard-on for sedition, which not quite my cup of tea. It's not. Then what is it? What is the movie then? Thank you, Jetta. But what, anybody say what it is actually? Oh, hey Jetta. What actually is it then? If that's not what it is? Yeah, talk about working at the UN. Maybe. I'm not sure I'm in the mood to get into that tonight. It's about a U.S. Civil War not necessarily made by MAGA. It would depend who made it. But I'm not going to watch something that basically says, the crazies have a point, Also, it just feeds. I'm tired of hearing their BS. Now, I took an Uber with a woman from the airport like a year ago, and the funny part was, had no idea who I was, had no idea what I do for a living, my background in politics, and Cabal, I don't know if you're a troll or what. Your numbers seem to suggest you're not a troll. Are you trolling? Don't get rid of Cabal yet, because Cabal seems to have numbers there suggesting they're not trolls, but that's kind of a trolly... Okay, that was kind of a trolly comment. I wasn't sure what you meant. You're yapping right now. I don't know if your English is your first language. That's not very nice to say in English. Yes, this show is hanging out, and is a hangout show we're doing, where I'm hanging out for an hour and reading your guys' questions and comments. Okay, that's good then. Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't think you were a troll from what I remembered. But yapping is not a polite word. Yapping is not a polite word in English. Oh, you're from the Netherlands. That's why. Yeah, you would not say yapping. Yapping right now, a dog yaps. So if you say someone's yapping, you mean they're just you're criticizing them, saying they're just like a dog. What they're saying is stupid. Yeah. There you go. Okay, see, I had a feeling. I recognized your name, too. I had a feeling I was misinterpreting this. By the way, this is the lesson of also international communication, where you don't always get the word, the meaning, because people aren't necessarily native speakers, even if they're super fluent. Yeah, that's very funny. Anyway, that's very funny. Yapping. Yeah, like a dog yaps. And it's usually a little dog that yaps, like a little obnoxious. It would be a little dog that's really obnoxious. It goes, that would be yapping. Yep. Yammering is still pretty bad, though. I know yapping sounds like chatting, but it's really not. Yapping is a little obnoxious dog that won't shut up, that you want to tell to shut up. Pomeranians. Yapping's the trending word right now. Well, if it gets us people coming to the show, yipping would be another one. Yeah. Well, no, I just had a feeling because I remembered the name. And his number thing there. I forget what that number. I think the number thing might mean you've given gifts. I forget what that number thing means next to your name, but it means somebody who's been here and done stuff. So that's why I knew. I was like, there's something else going on there. I love this mic. This is one of the first mics I got. Probably one of the first mics I got for podcasting. It's a nice mic. It's the CAD. It's like $50 mic, but it's a nice mic. But I like it because it kind of has that. You're listening to the BBC, the King's Speech. I know normally you don't see it. Well, again, since I'm in Chicago, although this is the mic for YouTube. So like I said, the TikTok mic, I'm not using my good plug-in mic for you guys today. Normally you'd have the plug-in mic, which would be nicer, but I've got it packed away for my trip to Asia. I just wanted to sort of be careful as to not forget it. New with Ukraine today, I'd say the newest thing, two things. One, the Russians destroyed a power plant in Kharkiv, which is very bad. Destroyed it. They're trying to take out all Ukrainian power at this point. The other thing that's very weird is the U.S. commanding general in Europe made a comment. I checked with Callum about this because I thought it was a bit weird. Thank you, Louisa. And please do keep the gifts coming, guys. I wasn't giving my gift pitch today, but I do this for free, and I've been doing it full time. And usually I do more of a report rather than just hanging out. But your guys' gifts pay the bills, so please do keep them coming. Thank you, Kevin. But I was talking to Kel about this, that are actually, for everybody else on TikTok, now that I've explained to folks what's going on when they're complaining about the mic, because they're not wrong, but I unplugged my mic and I've got it packed away to go with me on my Asia trip tonight. I didn't want to forget my mic. So I was afraid if I left it plugged in here, I might leave it on the table, so it's packed away in my bag. So just feel free to explain to people if they ask why the mic is seeming odd. Natalie Reyna with a very generous gift. Has Biden already sent a president of what we will allow to happen to civilians? I know Palestinians aren't innocent, but the Israelis seem to be falling in line with Russia. I'm worried China's taking notes too. Okay, your first sentence, I think you have a typo, so I'm not sure what you mean. Has Biden already sent a president of what we will allow to happen to civilians? Do you mean I'm not sure what you mean. Do you mean like what has Biden? Feel free to follow up, and you don't have to buy it, obviously. Follow up and explain again what you mean by that. Also, are you talking about a precedent? Has Biden set a precedent of what will allow? Oh, I see what you mean. Oh, but are you saying that? Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, yeah, she's saying that has Biden set a precedent by basically not, more harshly or whatever responding to Israel in response to civilian deaths in Gaza. And she acknowledges, which I agree, that, things are not black and white in Gaza. Thank you, Brian. But, and I would agree too. I think, the Israelis, we've talked about this. I don't want to open up this can of worms. I don't trust anything Hamas says. The casualty numbers mean nothing. Hamas is a liar. There's no reason to trust Hamas. Having said that, there got to be a lot of civilian casualties. Even the numbers I saw that were more realistic put the civilian casualties at like 15,000, right? The problem you get, though, is it's still not clear. I will say this. It's not clear how many of the casualties are Hamas itself. One thing Hamas does, and by the way, this is one of the reasons you shouldn't trust Hamas for numbers. Hamas includes the Hamas terrorists who are killed in with the citizens who are killed, the civilians. And they add the numbers together and simply release one number. They've been doing that from the beginning. That's one reason you shouldn't trust them. But honestly, even if it's only 10,000 civilians, that would be huge, right? So, yeah. So the question, I would say actually no. Here's the thing. The U.S. would, I know what the U.S. would argue, but that's not even really the point. If I'm the American president, it's very easy for me to say, you're my ally, you got attacked. Okay, this is like, I'm pretending like if I were Biden or if I were president. Israel's my ally, Israel got attacked horrifically, and Israel is going after the people that attacked it horrifically. I am okay with a certain level of civilian casualties. And again, I'm saying this as quote unquote, if I were president saying it, right? Trying to make a distinction. If Russia does it in Ukraine, they're not justified, and I'm going to come after them. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, would be the response. Actually, you could go one step further. You could say, if you were president, the president could say, maybe I'm being unfair. Maybe Israel is being bad. Too bad. I support Israel. I don't support Russia. So if Russia does it, here's what's going to happen if you do it, Russia. America is going to do X, Y, and Z, right? So you could, in terms of the precedent being set, when you say precedent being set, what you really mean is we are signaling to other countries what they can get away with. Well, that's only if we don't signal otherwise. So I would say, regardless of what we did or didn't do with Israel and Gaza, regardless of what message Biden is sending about Israel and Gaza, Biden can still say separately, Putin, you kill civilians and here's what we're going to do intentionally, right? And now, who the hell knows what we're going to do, because Biden let the war get away from him. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Lamb Chop. Biden could have told Putin, you go after, from the beginning, we had Bucha. The Bucha massacre was the first month of the war, right? We found out about it week 5 of the war, like April 1st or so. We found out about Bucha. The Russians invaded February 22nd. That was the little town that the Russians invaded and just killed all the citizens, all the civilians. We could have told the Russians, okay, because you did a civilian massacre, we're giving Ukraine HIMARS. We didn't give the HIMARS for months after that. Thank you, Mark. For months after that. We could have said, we're giving you HIMARS, right? Thank you, Mark, again, and Kronos. We could have told them, you don't want them getting tanks? You do any more civilian massacres? We're giving them tanks. We're giving them F-16s. But right, we could have. Thank you, Doug. Patriot missiles. It took us a year to give Ukraine the Patriot missiles they need to defend themselves. A year, and then we gave them three units, 3 batteries that they can use, which basically protects Kyiv, and they've got one they can move around the country, and that's it. So it's not protecting anything. I mean, it's protecting something, but it's not protecting anything in terms of nationwide. Thank you, Kronos. We could have said, okay, Russia, you did this in April. You're going after power plants now. Okay, now we're giving them 10 more Patriot missile batteries. But that's what you do to signal to stop the other side from doing bad things. You signal, if you do bad things, I'm going to escalate. Actually, even better, since Biden's always afraid of the word escalate. You don't say, I'm going to escalate. You say, I'm giving my dog my jacket here. You say, if you do bad things, I'm going to consider that an escalation, and I'm going to respond in kind by giving better weapons. So anyway, so I don't think so. No, I think the only lesson China or Russia or anybody else takes from our actions is when we make clear that our actions are universal, meaning, oh yes, if we're okay with civilian casualties in Israel, we will be okay with civilian casualties in Ukraine. If that's the lesson they take, it's because we didn't indicate otherwise. So again, without even taking a position on the Israeli thing, I would say the U.S. should be making clear to Russia, you're unique. Right? And we're not going to let you get away with BS. Period. Right? We don't know Biden's discussions behind closed doors. No. But I will say this. Biden publicly, he's not very strong. Again, let's get it all out. Right? Thank you, Succeed. Thank you, Janice. Biden's better than Trump. Trump wants to cut all aid to Ukraine. Trump is happy with Russia. Trump likes Russia. Trump doesn't like Ukraine. Trump already said that he wants, that he believes Crimea belongs to Russia. He already said that it was okay for Russia to invade and take it. I saw him say it on CNN at the beginning of the war. Or the beginning of the war, way back in like 2016 or so. So we get that out of the way. Trump is worse, but Biden publicly is not a strong leader when it comes to foreign policy. He's timid. Yeah. Even with Netanyahu, guys, look at this. I mean, look at what Biden is trying to signal on Netanyahu and Israel. He's trying to signal he's very angry, right? Right? And they keep going, oh boy, he's angry now at Netanyahu going too far with settlements and all sorts of things. Thank you, Courtney. But then the article goes, but the administration says that they won't be cutting back any weapons to Israel. Now, I'm not convinced weapons should be cut back to Israel. But if you're going to publicly say, I think we should be, thank you, Ginger. Thank you, Courtney. If you're going to publicly signal, I want people to know I'm really mad at Israel and hitting my breaking point, right? Because I'm warning them, because basically what you're doing is you're warning Israel, look what's coming next, right? Look what's coming next, right? If that's the message you're sending, you don't then send the message at the same time going, and by the way, what's coming next is we're totally still supporting you. I mean, again, I'm not saying we shouldn't totally support Israel, but you don't totally support Israel and say you're going to totally support them thank you, Blue Ariel, while you're also saying, we're very mad at them and they better watch it. Well, they better not watch it because we've already said we're not going to do anything. That is Biden being weak. That is Ukraine all over again. It is, I'm going to be strong against someone, and I'm also going to cave at the same time and signal, don't worry, I'm not going to get that mad. Then what's the point? No, Biden's better than Trump, but he's kind of a wimp. Timid is, I saw one of you use timid on TikTok a minute ago. That's really almost the best word to use because wimp is almost too much. Yeah, Christopher said timid. Timid, I think, is a great word to use because, scared and wimp kind of doesn't explain it to he's timid. And it's ironic because he's incredibly Biden's like a big expert on foreign policy. He was chairman of the United States Senate Foreign Relations Committee. That's a big deal. That makes you a huge expert. And he's not that good. He's just not. I mean, I think he knows the issues, but his view of things is timid. Yeah, that's the perfect word for it. Carly, TikTok is not showing me as live. I remember, that happening before, where I think like you had to either close the app or leave and then come back to my profile and then maybe it would show it as live. But I vaguely remember that being an issue before, though. I think. Thank you. Who is that? Thank you, Memphis, for the gift. Susan for mom. Oh, actually, that would be my sister is taking care of Sasha. My sister's taking care of her, not mom. Mom's too old. I would feel bad with that. She would actually, mom would, because mom couldn't. Mom's walking she walks, but it's difficult. I would feel bad having to take Sasha out, 10 times a day or whatever. Anyway, Biden is conservative, Maleotho says. Conservative meaning he's cautious. Yeah, he's not conservative in a right versus left mode on foreign policy, but cautious. Yeah, thank you, Grunerman. Grunerman's right. I was talking at the beginning about the U.S. general's warning. So our top general, is it Cavoli? I pronounce his name right, who's our top head of U.S. forces in Europe, U.S. Army in Europe, was saying at a congressional hearing, and I was asking Callum about this. He was saying that Russia's forces are back to what they were before the February invasion. And I read that, I'm going, huh? And I read more, and I don't have it in front of me, but he basically was saying, actually, I may have it in front of me. Hold on a second. Let me pull this up. Or actually, I can pull it up. I texted it to Callum so I could look at my... Here it is. I texted it to Callum. He says, let me read you this. Yeah, General Cavoli. Let me pull this up. The overall message I would give you is Russia's military has grown back to what they were before February 2022, which is the invasion of Ukraine. They've got some gaps that have been produced by this war, but their overall capacity is very significant still, and they intend to make it go higher. Russia is reconstituting that force far faster than our initial estimates suggested, meaning its frontline troops. The army is actually now larger by 15% than what it was when they invaded Ukraine. Now, me as foreign policy guy who always admits I know foreign policy, I don't claim to be a military expert, okay? Asked Callum, who is a military expert because he just left the British military after 10 years or so. And thank you, Louis, for the gift. And I said, well, okay, but I'm a little confused. Like maybe Russia's got 15,000 more troops than before the war started. But as Delisle just said, how well are they trained, right? I mean, Ukraine has killed or injured most of Russia's top troops, we presume. I mean, because we know 300,000 have been injured or killed, is the estimates. Not just from the Ukrainian side, but like from the American side. So if that's true, right, the first people who would have been killed or injured would have been the people fighting at the beginning of the war. And who do you think's fighting at the beginning of the war? The seasoned troops, the troops that have been there for a while, right? The troops that are there now are the new people from like the last 6 months to a year. Well, the new guys from the last 6 months of the year are just conscripts, basically, right? They're guys that haven't had much training. They don't have years of experience, whether it's flying or doing anything else. And I asked Callum about it, and he agreed. He goes, yeah, it's. I mean, basically, I'm looking here. The quality of troops is poor because Callum said I can share the stuff he tells me. Interesting. For reference, 1 British troop is worth 10 Russian troops. Ukraine to Russia, 3 is one Russian troop. Oh, wait a minute. Ukraine to Russia is 3 to 1. Not sure which way you mean that. Do you mean 3 Ukrainians are worth 1 Russian or vice versa? Callum, if you're around, jump in. I didn't see. Is Callum here today? Hold on. Question. I'm going to say question for you in case he's, because I'm not sure what he meant by that one. Oops. Question for you. But yeah, morale's got to be, the thing is, right. I mean, literally just said, morale's got to be low among Russian soldiers. They've lost 300,000 men. It's not like the war's going great for them, right? They've lost, there you are, a ton of equipment, right? I was confused about your 3-to-1 comment. I gave the example. They said like one British troop is worth 10 Russian troops. But when you gave 3-to-1 for Russia and Ukraine, which way did you mean? Did you mean one Ukrainian is worth 3 Russians, or one Russian is worth 3 Ukrainians, so the Russians are actually better? And of course, Ukraine's in the same boat where they had a lot of their good troops fought at the beginning and they've been injured or killed probably at this point, I would think, right? Ukrainians are better. Okay, I'm just asking. Ukrainian troops are better, of course. Of course. Thank you, Susan. Happy birthday. Oh, is it your birthday today? Oh, I'll even sing it. I sing happy birthday occasionally. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Susan. Happy birthday to you. Even though I sing a shy version of it. But I am leaving later tonight. So like around midnight or so. So I'm going to leave for O'Hare before that. So I'm here for another 4-5 hours. Yep. Everything's packed. My suitcase is light. Light meaning it's not 50 pounds, which is good. It's not light, but it's not 50 pounds. Supposedly Happy Birthday is no longer copyrighted. It was. Because I think I mentioned this a year ago and somebody said, no, the copyright may have just slipped. Take a look and see, but I think Thank You Adventures, it may have slipped finally. So yes, everybody not welcome, but give Susan a happy birthday. I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks in Asia. I will be doing videos, like little travel videos on TikTok and YouTube. But I will not be doing my regular show. I won't be doing because I'm going to be busy with family, doing my nephew's wedding and everything else. Also, it's a 12-hour time change from Washington, D.C., which is my normal time. So it just screws everything up. And there's just no way I could schedule anyway because I don't know what I'm doing. But I will be doing occasional lives where I surprise you and sit down for half an hour, maybe over my morning coffee in the various countries Indonesia, because Singapore we're probably getting up and going out immediately. Going to Singapore and I hope I didn't say China, Singapore and Indonesia to Bali. Yeah, it'll be fun. His girlfriend, well, they got married once already. This is like their second wedding. They got married once in Singapore with like a justice of the peace guy and her family, and this is sort of the second fun one they wanted to have. Yeah, so Bo, that's what I'd read was it's no longer, I believe it's no longer copyrighted. Yeah. If you go live, can you let everyone at Discord? No. I can let everyone know at Discord. Yes. I was going to say, because I'm not taking my laptop with because there's no point. And it creeps me out. I don't like having my laptop abroad necessarily. But yeah, I can, thank you, Chaz, for that. Harvey, good to see Harvey with a very generous gift as well. Thoughts on former UK British Prime Minister Boris Johnson discussing Trump's peace plan in Ukraine, saying Trump can never make America great again if he negotiates with Putin, calling him a worse appeaser than Chamberlain. Wow. Thank you, Susan. I thought I was already singing for my breakfast with the previous gift, but I appreciate it. Thank you. That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, Trump isn't the only one. What's his face? The foreign secretary, Cameron, also mentioned appeasement yesterday. Sorry, see the hairs. Remember how I said every day my hair is different? Today it's being different again. Thank you, Martin. I did not buy the sleeve. I probably should have, Callum. It's too late now. I forgot about it. I would have, but I forgot about it. Too bad, because I would have done like a last minute Amazon. I had to do some socks as a last minute Amazon. But Boris Johnson is a non-entity in the UK. Yeah, but I've been very impressed with him on Ukraine. He's been great on Ukraine. So I kind of, I appreciate him on that. Misha, you're excited about coming to America. Are you coming to America? Good luck if you can. But that's great if you can. Are they letting anybody out right now? Neil asks, I'm curious if you think NATO will end up at war with Russia in the end and when. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I am convinced that we are back to the Cold War. which means the possibility of war with Russia. And it would be, oh, good for you, Misha. And it would be because Russia wants it and Russia's pushing for it. Just because we're back to the Cold War doesn't mean we're going to have a war. But it means we're at risk of a war, and we're, fighting an enemy that kind of wants war, I think, and is and risks war by going too far. So I'm not convinced we're going to war with Russia. I am convinced we are at a serious risk of a war with Russia because Russia itself wants it. Thank you, Bryce. The Ukraine situation is doing exactly what we feared, which was that the Russians would get a taste, the expression, you've tasted blood and you want more, or a shark tasting blood in the water. They've tasted blood and they want more. They want to take over all of Ukraine, and they want to get back their other neighbors that were part of the Soviet Union, including the Baltic countries. No, I think Danik. Danik said, "Why do I say they want war with Russia, with the West?" They want their land, what they consider their land, back. They want Ukraine back, even though it wasn't theirs, right? But they think Ukraine belongs to them. They think Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia belong to them. Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia are literally NATO members, right? But they think it belongs to them, and I think they might try to take it back because the lesson from Ukraine was the West is going to be scared. At least Biden, the French, and the Germans will be scared. And that makes them more likely to try something. The Russians, because they say, okay, well, if I saw Biden, getting back to the question somebody had asked earlier about the precedent it sets. I think Biden, the precedent I fear is Biden set a precedent with Ukraine that he is timid. He's timid. He's afraid of escalation. And he's already said he's afraid of going to war with Russia. So if I'm Russia, I'm going, this is great. He's afraid of going to war with me. So I'll keep pushing his buttons and keep trying to do more, But again, what worries me is, from a Russia perspective, maybe Danik is referring to the Russians saying they're not insane. I don't think the Russians are insane at all. They're very sane, and that's the problem. They will very sanely do the calculation and say, can we go and invade and take Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia? And if we do, will we get away with it? And if Donald Trump is president, maybe, right? Maybe the rest of Europe goes to war with them, maybe. But can you kick Russia out of those countries once they're there? Maybe, without America helping, right? I mean, it's a mess. And the other thing too is, I think Russia's, unless the rhetoric is, and I do think like the Russian rhetoric is bizarre, like on Russian TV, it's bizarre the stuff they talk about on Russian TV. Thank you, Danik. Bizarre the stuff they talk about. They're always talking. They've been doing this for 2 years now. Always talking about nuclear war. Just 2 weeks ago, they were talking about which French cities they would nuke. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy talk. And even though I don't think the Russians are crazy, I think they're sane. Their government, their leaders. I worry sometimes that there's so much crazy talk coming out of the Russians, such as constantly talking about launching nuclear attacks, that at some point, maybe you do have to take them seriously. Maybe it's not just this weird fetish they've got for their domestic population to talk about who they're going to nuke. Maybe there is something weird in their strategic thinking that they really think they could take us on and win. I know. It worries me. It worries me. Well, I don't think they would at all. MB says, do you think Russia would go to war with NATO if Ukraine joined NATO? No, it's the exact opposite. What did Russia do when Sweden and Finland joined NATO? Why? Because they can't do anything if they join NATO, because then they're in trouble. If the U.S. abides by its NATO commitments, they can't touch. If Ukraine were to join NATO and NATO made clear and said, right now, Ukraine's a member of NATO. Let's pretend the Russians weren't already at war there. Ukraine joins NATO, January of 2022. And we say, Russia, you're putting troops on NATO's border. If you invade Ukraine, you're going to war with us. If we did that, I think Russia would not invade. But we would never have done that because we wouldn't have, that's too ballsy of a move. And NATO would have had to agree. Everybody in NATO would have to agree anyway. So that would have never happened anyway. right? With the Hungarians especially. But no, I think quite the opposite. The Russians, again, because I think the Russians are not crazy. If Ukraine were to join NATO, the Russians would say, we can't beat NATO. You'd hope they would say. I mean, the problem is, this is the problem. A united NATO, the Russians can't beat. A divided NATO, I don't know. Right? If the Americans aren't helping because Trump is president, or the MAGA Republicans stop the U.S. from helping like they're doing now in Congress, then what happens? Then is NATO a sufficient threat? You know? Stacks, I don't care what number's next to your thing, you're going to be muted for a while and have a little timeout because apparently somebody didn't have their, what's the word for babies today? Somebody didn't have their nap today, so... Anyway, Europe goes to war. Well, obviously it's just my opinion, Jordan. I mean, I'm never a big fan of people who say, isn't this just your opinion? Well, obviously, unless I'm telling you the distance to the sun, it's my opinion, right? I mean, obviously, if I tell you, how many inches in a meter or a yard or a foot, then it's not my opinion. If we're doing analysis of what the Russians are thinking, unless I'm quoting you Vladimir Putin, of course obviously it's my opinion. I never understand what people mean by that. It's your opinion. I'm like, well, what does that mean? Obviously, all of us are sharing our opinions. That's every time you listen to an expert opine on something, they're giving their opinion based on the facts that they know. I mean, my flight is very long. The first leg is like 15 hours. Then there's like a 2-hour layover and then another 4 hours, which sucks. Because after the 15, you're just like, ugh. It really, just sucks. What's the distance to the sun? 93 million miles, I believe, give or take. Not my opinion, my recollection. Well, it doesn't really matter. I mean, thank you. Who's the gift there? Thank you, Mark. I mean, somebody, Mr. Law said, well, what if Russia gave nukes to Cuba? As I said, it's all based on the analysis of what the person's going to do next, right? If it's Biden, do we know he would, ensure the missiles leave Cuba? No, because Biden would be timid and afraid of war with Russia. If it were Reagan, you can guarantee if Russia tried to put nuclear weapons in Cuba, there'd be a problem. With Biden, he'd talk a big talk. He would do, well, he can't do more sanctions now, right? But, no, it's all about perception. It's all about what message you send to the other guy about what you're going to do, Russia tries to put nukes in Cuba and we do another blockade. Because in the end, Russia can't afford to go to war with us. But we would never do that because Biden would never do it. And the MAGA Republicans are all isolationists, pro-Russian anyway. So that's not gonna help. Sneak peek. I was gonna put next week's auction up right now. I can't sneak peek it because it's in my phone, which I'm using to broadcast here. But I was gonna put. I'm going to try to put them up right after the show. I just contacted people right now before the show to let those of you know who won yesterday's auction. And I'm going to try to put them up. It takes me some time to put them up, believe it or not. But I will try to put them up right now so they're there again for a week. Maybe ending next Thursday. And that way, but I don't even remember what I've got a list. I don't even remember. I have to look actually. I can look and see. I don't have the pictures handy though, because like I said, they're on my phone. That's in my that I'm using my phone to broadcast to YouTube, and then my iPad to broadcast to TikTok, and both of those are where my stuff is. My next week's here we go. So next week's, all right. Next week's I've got Oh, I've got really cool Christmas for these are the auctions we do to benefit Ukraine. I've got a really cool Christmas star ornament. These are those beautiful ornaments I got from a woman in Ukraine who makes these beautiful, just beautiful painted ornaments. And I mean, no, but this is the other. This is the woman that makes the really nice Petrokivka. There's the one that does the big ornaments. These are the star ornaments and stuff. So I've got the beautiful star ornament she does that's gorgeous. One of the really nice table runners. This is a really pretty one, actually. That's very detailed. One of the nicest ones Vlad sent that's hand knit in Ukraine that goes on a table, to like decorate the table with put vases on it on top of it, a cloth. But this from the 1950s, 1960s. I've got a Titanic Kerch Bridge magnet. I've also got a cool t-shirt. Vlad's got these cool t-shirts that say, I believe in the armed forces of Ukraine in Ukrainian. So this is like video VSU or whatever it is, or the ZSU, which is the Ukrainian for Armed Forces of Ukraine. So it says I believe in the Armed Forces of Ukraine, which is neat. That's a cool T-shirt, large and extra large. Another assortment of Ukrainian candy. Vlad sent a whole bunch of Ukrainian candy and sweets that are his favorite and his 5-year-old daughter's favorites. So I've got another candy grab bag of 5 of the candies. I didn't realize I did this. Okay, next week's is going to be big. I've got a tractor tank fridge magnet. I've got a woven blanket. And then the other thing I've got, which I think is really cool, a part of a Shahed drone. I've been sitting on this one for a while. I'm going to do it for next week's auction. But it's this part from the Shahed drones, which are the Iranian drones that the Russians have been shooting at the Ukrainians. Thank you, Asli. And it's a neat piece because it includes like a gear that's in there. And I went and Googled and was able, because I wanted to basically prove it was real. And I went and I found on PBS's website, which is public broadcasting here in America, I found a photo of this same part on the broken Shahed drone. So not the photo of my drone, but a photo of the same part on another Shahed drone that had been blown up or whatever over Ukraine. So I was able to confirm that this part is a part of a Shahed drone. So I've even got the picture, which is kind of nice too. Anyway, it's a very cool part. I like this kind of stuff. I think it's interesting as far as little, again, it's about this big, but a piece of a Russian drone, the Shaheds, which are the famous Iranian ones. I just think they're cool. So we got that too, which is kind of fun. So there's a very good selection. The cool T-shirts, the cool knit running board stuff, a lot of cool stuff. But like I said, I can't show them during the show because they're on my phone, which sucks. But thank you, Susan, for the gift. Susan just did a gift membership for one of our lucky members that DJ Kofnail got. That's nice. You're green now, exactly. You're green. Oh, Harvey says I missed a super chat. No, I didn't, Harvey. Were you like out of it? I answered it already. Did you step away? I answered your super chat. We had a long discussion about it. About Trump. Saying that about appeasement. And we were talking about Johnson, and I was mentioning that that Lord Cameron said the same thing. He didn't mention Chamberlain, but he didn't mention Trump, but he said this week after meeting with Trump that appeasement is bad. Is that what you mean? Oops, sorry, scrolling ahead now. I lost my User 424, what do you mean? It says, will it help to take supplies to Ukraine? Is there anyone that you can ask to give info material needed? Yeah. I mean, for example, he's here with us a lot, Dutch Cossack. I don't know if he's here tonight, but Klaus goes to Ukraine at least a couple times a year. He just went. He's going again this summer and brings a lot of stuff that he gets from, he's in Netherlands, so in Holland, and brings stuff from there and talks to his friends there to find out what they need. So he could certainly tell us. My friend Vlad is another one. Thank you, Charles, who's in Ukraine, is another one who can absolutely tell us what's needed. So yeah, I mean, we can definitely talk to folks. Are you in Europe or something? Or Danik, avoiding the Israel topic? Not really. This is called the Ukraine War Update. So there's kind of a reason we don't talk about Israel a lot, because it's the Ukraine War Update. And Ukraine isn't fighting in the war in here. But also, we just talked about it the first half of the show. So I'm not sure. But we do, though. I talk about other news. We talked about Israel earlier on and Gaza because somebody had a question about that. So I do. But at the same time, we did it earlier. But also, I will say, it's almost useless discussing it. I've in my, at least 25 years now, I've had sort of a conclusion that you can't discuss the Middle East with anybody. You can't. We used to call it the Arab-Israeli conflict. You can't discuss it with anybody because both sides will just go crazy. So it's almost not worth it. It just, especially now, because now it's gotten even worse. So. Yeah, no, but we did. People were asking about civilian casualties in Gaza and whether that was sending a message to Putin that civilian casualties were okay. And I was basically arguing that possibly, except that when it comes down to it, what Putin will base his actions on is what message we send him directly. And if we don't send Putin a message directly that says, yeah, Israel might be doing this stuff, but we're allies with Israel. We're not allies with you. We're going to come down hard on you. If we don't send him that message, then all bets are off. Sasha keep me up. Sasha does keep me up. Last night wasn't too bad. The previous 2 nights were horrific. Last night she was pretty good. So last night I slept pretty well. Thank you. And I had a nap this afternoon, even though I never know whether the nap is a good or bad idea for the flight. But I did have a little bit of a nap, although now it's making me tired. It's one of those weird, I mean, I'm not sure what you mean, Danon. If you mean who will take over after Biden? I mean, if Trump wins, it's Trump. I'm not sure what you mean. Marty, super chat question. Thank you, Marty. I'm a Canadian who vacations in Cuba. I've always wanted to go to Cuba. Why can't Americans travel to Cuba? We could. I don't know whether now we can't, but that was loosened up so that you could go for academic reasons to go on a, fact-finding thing. So a lot of Americans have. But I don't know why. But we can't go to China, Russia, and Iran. That's it, or we can. Now that's an interesting question. That is U.S. domestic politics. So the question is, why is it that Americans still have all these restrictions on Cuba, but not on, especially travel, but not China, Russia, and Iran? Because Cuban Americans are a big influence group in Florida. That's it. I mean, that's pretty it. And politically, it's, I'm not sure how to explain this in politics, but once something's in place, if you undo it, you send a message. So, either Republicans or Democrats, if they were to lift, now mind you, a lot of stuff was lifted on Cuba, but if they were to lift all sanctions on Cuba and treat Cuba like China, that would be something they'd be held responsible for. So people would ask them and go, why are you being nice to Cuba? Why are you giving Cuba, Cuba's communist government a gift for being a dictatorship? So the problem isn't if we didn't have these sanctions on Cuba, maybe we would treat them like China. But because we've got them there, if we remove them, it sends a message, and it sends a message not just to Cuba, it's Cuba's government saying, whatever, but it also sends a message to the American people that the politicians who voted to remove the sanctions wanted to do Cuba a favor. Why is that? And it looks bad because Cuba hasn't done anything to earn the favor, would be the argument. So it's always a problem when you've got stuff in place trying to remove it, because it can get dicey politically trying to remove stuff. Obama did lift a lot of sanctions, and Trump, I remember Trump going back on the Obama stuff. I just don't remember enough about it because people were starting to travel there, for example, too. Alex, how long until Speaker Johnson holds off on the Ukrainian aid package? Till Trump's elected? I mean, I don't know how he finds this. The only solution he could get, because Johnson has such a small majority in Congress. They've got a 1-vote majority or something, right? They got 218 seats. He's the Speaker of the House, Republican. He's afraid, he's afraid that if he brings up Ukraine aid for a vote, that basically he's going to get thrown out as Speaker, that Republicans will vote him out, and they very well may. So what basically has to happen is Trump needs to say it's okay. And Trump hasn't yet. Trump got there a little bit, right? Trump did say that he was he would be okay with Ukraine getting loans instead of grants, instead of gifts, right? That's interesting. I mean, if Johnson, I guarantee you, probably approached Trump and said, look, I want to do the Ukraine aid bill. If we do it all as loans, will you publicly support it? Thank you, Osley. Because if Trump publicly supports it, it becomes hard for the MAGA crowd in Congress, in the House, to vote, not just against it, but to vote against the speaker and say, we're going to take you down for doing something Donald Trump approved of, right? But the fact that you're not hearing from Trump means Trump is going, I don't want to piss people off. I don't want to piss off my base. I told them Ukraine's bad, not before the election. So I think that's what's going on, unfortunately. He may not be supporting, he's not, so Ghostwriter says Trump is not supporting Marjorie Taylor Greene in her challenge of Speaker Johnson. He may not be, but he hasn't called it off either. You know? I don't know about sort of who else they're thinking might step down as far as requirements on the Republican side. Oops. I don't have the phone near me in order to hit it and turn it off. Oh, hi, Misha. Misha's thanking me because he gets in other Misha's from Russia. Gets in other chat channels and gets called all sorts of names. Look, Misha, you've been normal with us. I will say, I'm somewhat suspicious of somebody Russian joining us. And I say that because I know your government very well. I've been to Russia twice. I've been to the Soviet Union once and then to Russia after that. And I'm always a little suspicious of Russians that pop into our kind of forums, and even acting nice. I'm still a little suspicious of you, to be honest. But you've been nice and you haven't caused any trouble, and I don't see you spewing propaganda. So, happy to welcome you. Yeah, Gunther answered my phone call exactly. It's on the other line. Gunther's in the rest of in the upstairs. What is it? He's on the other phone. Oh, I'm not even going to get into that blue Ariel. It's too complicated. Yeah. Well, as I said too, like I could see, depending on the forum, we were a little questionable about you as well. We weren't really sure kind of who you are and what you were doing here. Thank you, Alan. Because of Russia's censorship and everything else, the fact that a normal Russian would come and hang out in these forums, And I'll tell you, I mean, there's like 2 women on TikTok who I guarantee you are Russian spies. They're not real. I'm not going to name them because I'm not going to call them Russian spies and name them, but they're clearly working for the Russians. They're Russian, but they're also clearly working for the Russians. It just, so, yeah, you just, anyway. What else, guys? We're 6 o'clock. I'm not going to go too long because I am tired tonight. But name them. No, if I call them Russian spies, I'm not going to name them. If I don't call them Russian spies, I might name them. Haven't heard from either one in a long time anyway, so maybe they got found out or they got called home or something. I don't feel like Discord tonight, Max. Just because so much going on, I'm really tired. Thank you. I mean, with the trip. Otherwise, I would, but with the trip coming, I'm just kind of like, I'd rather. Thank you, Lewis. Thank you, Alan, for the gift, by the way. I think I'd rather hang here for a little bit and then go. Brian, are you shoveling BS? I don't know. Are you a Russia lover? Which is okay, but are you like a genocide lover? I don't know, Brian. I don't know. Bye, Brian. Good seeing you. Thank you, Eve. What else? Yeah. I'll do a video probably when I arrive. At least I can hopefully do something in Singapore is a little harder. I mean, not harder, but like I check into the hotel and then I'm running around with my nephew and his fiance or wife the whole time. Thank you, Frank Thomas. So Singapore, let's see hopefully in Singapore at least, I'm going to take videos. I think I'm going to do videos and then post them with sound over where I'm describing what we were doing. So the airport alone is supposed to be really cool in Singapore. So I may just give you guys, although I don't know whether I'm allowed in Singapore until I leave customs to film, right? Can I land in Singapore and film? I don't know if I can. Not sure. Thank you, Gunnar. But in America, you're not allowed to use your phone when you get off the plane and haven't gone through customs. They get pissed at you. Yeah. So that's what I was going to say, like taking videos and stuff. I think I'll do it after customs. Yeah. Yeah. Can't spit on the ground. Yes. Fortunately, I'm not much of a spitter, but I had heard that. Yes. Yeah. Filming during I would not film during immigration and all of that. I'm going to be careful with all of that. You know. Oh, what else, guys? Oh boy. But yeah, so tonight, later tonight, I'm heading to Singapore to see my nephew and his girlfriend, and then after that, we are going to go and go to Bali together, where he's going to get married, and we're all going to hang out for a week and a half, which should be nice. The gum, she claimed the gum thing was like a rumor. She said it wasn't true. His wife. So we didn't push her on it. We were like, okay, you know. But I am excited. I got some noise canceling headsets, so I'm going to see how those are. Because for this long of a flight, it literally is 15 hours the first leg, then a 2-hour layover, then another 4 hours. I figured the noise canceling headsets would be a huge plus. Thanks, Alex. Oh, you're in Ukraine. I don't know if I remembered that. Do you mind saying where you are in Ukraine? Just curious, Alex. They're going to be living, I don't know, they're not sure yet, either Singapore or Bali, because they, thank you, Mario, for the gift membership. Oh, it went to Tree Robitaille. That's nice. Thanks, Mario, for that. It went to Keps. I'm sorry. See you, Tree Robitaille. It went to Keps. Oh, that's nice. What were we asking? Sorry, somebody, it is a long flight. Where will they be living? Yeah, so very interesting. So my nephew's marrying this woman from Singapore. And the way U.S. immigration works, things are so slow and so behind that, thank you, Brandy, appreciate that. People that they basically they're applying, for her to get the U.S. green card, and it takes them possibly a year and a half, maybe a little bit less, for the U.S. government to get to them, basically to say, okay, now it's your turn for the interview. Because they've got to do the interview to make sure you're really married, the are you really married interview. And are you not just being paid to give some Asian woman citizenship? You know what I mean? Hey, Harvey. Oh, you counted before I answered. Oh, that's funny. Okay, I didn't see it until that. That's why. Okay. So it could take as much as a year and a half. I do not like wars. Oh, no. I do like beating bad guys, though. And I like standing up to bad guys. And I like making them stop being bad. And I like helping innocent people who are being beaten up by bad guys. So there you go. So I don't like wars, but I'm not afraid of going to war. Because that's the whole reason we have a military, is to stop wars from happening and going to war if we have to. So, hey, Osley. Hey, Danon. Hey, incredibly tired. Hey, Jen, as well. I will say, unfortunately, but one of the best ways to start a war is to be adamant that you're never, ever, 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 ever going to fight a war, that you're terrified of war. Because then the other guy looks at you and goes, you're terrified. This is good. I know no matter what I do, you're never going to stand up to me. So that's why I do not want a war, but I'm not afraid of going to war. If you go to war when you have to. And hopefully that's never. And hopefully the fact that you even believe that and make that clear helps you avoid the war. I don't understand what my nephew does, to be honest. Thank you, Not Slinky. I've never understood exactly what he does. Marketing. Works for a big company doing marketing. But I've never understood that. what he does. But he's been working remotely anyway. So he talked to the company and said, look, it's going to be more remote, but he basically committed he'll be available, he'll work 8 hours, but 9 hours, whatever, but he'll be available either mornings or afternoons for meetings because they're 12 hours ahead, What else? You did change your profile picture. I see that. Yes, to Zelensky. Well, he's not living anywhere. Let's not, you know what? Let's not, it's nobody's business what my nephew's doing, to be honest. So we're done with my nephew discussion. Thank you, user. No offense, but the details of my nephew's life, I don't plan on broadcasting. What What else? I see WC Fields mentioning CIA out of nowhere. Oh, my nephew, you mean? Yeah, no, he wouldn't have a problem with it, nor would I, but he's totally different fields. He's like a marketing guy. Yeah. But he wouldn't be opposed to it, neither would I, working for the CIA. Joe, I don't really worry about the Russians coming after me because I don't think I'm important enough, I mean, I'm a guy with a show, but, like, what's the advantage, Man, I mean, I've got a YouTube and a TikTok show. I like to think this is a great show, and that you guys are wonderful, but enough for the Russians to try to come after me? I mean, really? And if they do, it'll make a great show. I'll get more gifts from you guys. So, 32 hours? Ugh. Wow. Yeah, I'm stopping in JD, you had a question? I didn't see. I did not see. Let me see. Okay, I don't only reply to TikTok, but I didn't see your question. I mean, starting to cover Middle East more, it's kind of a mixed bag, though, because, I certainly would be covering the U.S. election as the election approaches. I cover the Middle East when there's big stuff, but also, as I was saying, I find that it's the one issue that just people are idiots about. Like, you just can't discuss the Middle East without everyone getting bent out of shape. And I just, it's not fun. Thank you, user424. So I've done it before, and we did it a lot when Israel first invaded Gaza. Well, when the attacks happened and then Israel responded, but I don't enjoy it. I just don't enjoy the bullshit of everyone getting, because it's always been that way, that issue. And frankly, part of it is anti-Semitism, and it is. It's not exclusively. I mean, I get why people are upset at Israel right now. Totally understand that. But a lot of the Israel stuff is people don't like Jews. And it's always been that way. But then you have people like Netanyahu that do things that really make you not like Israel, and it's understandable. Thank you, Super Hornet. But right there, it's just like, ugh. It's just like nastiness. I don't enjoy it. So that's part of the reason I don't give updates on what's going on, because it almost isn't worth it. People are just too nasty. So... Now, what's funny that you mentioned that, JD, though, is the font for YouTube is smaller than the font for TikTok. So I may not even realize I'm doing it, that I'm looking at TikTok, because it's way easier to read than the font for YouTube. It's smaller, which, for you kids is easy. No, see, this doesn't help. Even with my glasses, I've got to get this close. So even the glasses, it's almost better without the glasses. So I do look over there, but it's kind of, back and forth. Beep, 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 beep. Yeah, we talked about Sword's question at the beginning of the show, Cherry. Thank you, though. Yep. Beginning of the show, we saw that. I will be Traveler TikTok for a few weeks. Yeah, I think so. If there's, I'll look, when there's, if there's Ukraine news worth sharing, because I'm still going to keep an eye on the news, because I almost shouldn't. I should just cut off the news for 2 weeks, but that's not who I am, so I'm going to read the news. But I'm still going to do some Ukraine updates on TikTok and probably YouTube, but I'm going to do more travel updates, I think, of just cool stuff I'm seeing and impressions and all, because I think it'd be fun, even though it's totally different than the Ukraine stuff. I just think it'd be nice. And since I'm kind of on vacation for 2 weeks, I'd like to keep it somewhat happier since, but yeah, so Terry, I did see his question. Yep. We got it at the very beginning. Vlad got away safely. Yeah. I haven't heard from him today. But we were saying Vlad got bombed yesterday or the day before when they were buying the fabric to make the blankets, sheets, and pillowcases that we raised the money from you guys for the hospital in Ukraine. They were 200 meters or 600 feet away from a building, driving buildings next to the road. They're approaching it 200 meters, 600 feet away, and the building blows up from a Russian bomb dropped on it. They were pretty freaked out. He was pretty freaked out about that. So... that was not good. Thank you, Ash. It's gonna be warm, but it's gonna be kind of uggy though, kind kind of muggy, which I'm not happy about. Taurus, I mean, I don't. Taurus is asking why we're not lend-leasing Ukraine older Bradley fighting vehicles. We're giving them some Bradleys. I know that. We may have given them 100 Bradleys or something. I mean, again, the only thing is across the board, we've given them a lot, but we didn't give them enough. And we could have given them better stuff, and we didn't. And the stuff we gave them, we tended to give them very late. So we gave Russia ample time to dig in. So, I'm not seeing the comments update on YouTube, which is interesting. You guys kind of have frozen on me. Unless nobody's written anything, which I doubt, the comments aren't moving for me. Oh, I think it just updated now, maybe. Yeah, it just updated now. Okay, it wasn't updating, so no. Okay, although you guys aren't writing too much, though. You're not writing too much. I can see it now. Yeah, I see Ash. Okay, or maybe you guys just weren't writing as much as the TikTokers, which is the other issue, by the way. People don't write as many comments on YouTube, so I look and see comment, and then there's nothing new, and I go over to YouTube. Thank you, Mario. Mario just gave another wonderful TikTok, a YouTube gift that who got it? Oh, we're waiting to see who gets it. My hair's going to go crazy. Well, with the humidity, that's why I got it cut. Oh, and Jake, another gifted membership too. Oh, I see. Oh, no. Mario had gifted it to you. That's very funny. Mario bought the gift membership and it gifted it to himself. That's very funny. That is funny. And then Jake did a gift membership that went to Mac. Lovely. Now, just to remind folks, the gift memberships or the memberships overall on TikTok and YouTube, they change your name. So like on TikTok, you get the SNN next to your name, which means Sasha News Network, named after my dog. For you guys on YouTube, your name turns green, but it means you're a paid monthly subscriber. And you get emojis you can use that are like only for the paid subscribers, but also, and again, not doing it for the next 2 weeks, but typically Saturday mornings, I do a show with my friend, often with my friend Vlad in Ukraine joins us, and it's just for the subscribers. So it's a much smaller, more intimate group. And it's actually very much like today's show, where I don't prepare a script, and it's me hanging out with you guys, and we talk, and we shoot the bull, and I answer your questions, and it's very nice. Thank you, Courtney. Appreciate that. But I'm not doing it the next 2 Saturdays because I'll be in Singapore on this Saturday and then Indonesia the next Saturday, Bali. So I can't do the show because also it would be like at 11 p.m. at night, which would be a little late for me there. But I'll be back the week after. So the 27th, Saturday the 27th will be the first Saturday show that I do. I'm coming back the 26th. So you're going to get me. Oh, God, it's the next morning even. Ugh, that's okay. I'll do it because I won't be seeing you guys for 2 weeks. But I come back Friday night or Friday afternoon maybe. Friday night I come back. And then I'll see you guys in the morning. I'm in Chicago right now visiting Mom, dropping my dog off. And then, see, my allergies really kicked in today. I don't know what's going on in Chicago. I was sneezing and I can tell with my throat. My voice is a little off from allergies. Well, I mean, the Chicago time is a little confusing. Actually, I don't care about Chicago time. I care about DC time. DC time is easy because Washington, DC time is 12 hours from where I'm going. I probably do look tired because my dog has had me awake several nights in a row. Last night wasn't so bad. The 2 nights before, she had me up all night. The first night, she had to pee like 3 times. I was going to kill her. And the second night, something was bothering her and she was panting and upset the whole night. So she kept, every 2 minutes, she'd change positions and move to the other side of the bed, but for an entire night. So every time she moved, I was like, what? And after, oh my God, somebody waking you up nonstop for 8 hours, you're like, oh. So I've got my old looking tired look again. I know. Well, my sister's my dog nanny, so that's good. Thank you, Mick. And Jake got another gift membership that went to Tyler. Love, excellent. Oh, yeah, she might be nervous. I mean, she's not dumb. Like even today, we had to go out to a family thing in the morning, and I came back and she was like, my dog. So she's not going to, and I've got to take her to my sister's tonight, probably in an hour or 2. So she's not going to be happy. She likes going to my sister's, but, me leaving at my sister's will not be fun. She's going to be upset about that. So your dental work became an extraction. Well, that sucks, Sword. Oh, God, excuse me. Oh, boy. You'll be in Lancaster. Oh, fun. You go to Lancaster, Ohio. That's interesting. I don't know Lancaster, Ohio. I'd like to go to Ukraine in the future. Just kind of no plans, and I keep sort of planning on it, and then I keep feeling like the situation's getting worse, so I'm kind of not sure. Well, that's good. Mike says Ukraine. The Norwegians have approved the transfer of 12 Norwegian operationally capable F-16 fighter jets and 10 more F-16s that could be used for spare parts. Oh, that's good. That's good. Excellent. All right, guys. I think I'm going to sign off shortly here. Oh, I really am tired. I'm sorry. But I think the nap didn't... Well, the nap helped and didn't help. I had a nap, but it kind of, naps just kind of make you, Anyway, guys. All right, you know what? I'm going to call it quits then. I've got laundry in the basement I've got to get to put in the dryer. And I'm pretty much done packing. Thank you, Blue Ariel. So I'm going to... Actually, yeah, luggage is good. I mean, I pretty much packed. Putin has not found me. I don't think Putin cares about me, to be honest. But, the only thing that's hard is the flight is so... I'm going to yawn again. The flight is so late that I was reading, the flight experts, and they say you want to get on the time immediately over there. But the problem is they're 12 hours ahead, basically. So I would have to stay up until 8 a.m., our time here. In other words, stay awake on the flight for 7 or 8 hours and then go to sleep. And I don't think I can stay awake on the flight for 7 or 8 hours, especially leaving here at midnight. I mean, I don't see doing that. I think it would just make me feel sick to my stomach if I stayed awake until 8 a.m., So I'm not convinced that's going to work. I think I may just go to sleep on the plane, and it is what it is, I've been to Asia 3 times before. I've been to Japan when I was working in the Senate. I've been to the Russian Far East, to Petropavlovsk when I was in the Senate. And I've been to Indonesia and Singapore when I was working as a consultant. And I went and did some trainings in Indonesia for the U.S. Embassy. I went and trained a number of nonprofits, or NGOs, we call them. So pro-democracy groups, women's groups, things like that. So 3 times, I guess. Yeah, 3 times, which is a lot for an American, I guess, which is nice. But so it's kind of funny because I'm going back. Okay, you guys, I'm so sorry. It's kind of funny that, of course, I get to do this big trip to Asia, and I'm going back to the 2 places I've been, which is Indonesia and Singapore. But I never went and saw anything in Singapore. We only had 24 hours, and we got there, had the afternoon and evening, and then the plane left noon or something. So we almost had no time in Singapore. I did high tea at my hotel. It was wonderful. And Bali, I was stuck in the Australian trashy area. Thank you, Tom. And didn't know there was a wonderful side of Bali. So I'm going to discover that this time, but I'm kind of bummed because the folks at the U.S. Embassy helped me book the flight. And the trip to Bali the first time 20 years ago, and they booked it at all the cheesy stuff. Thinking, and they do this also. The locals working at the U.S. Embassy, thank you, D-Press, think that Americans want the cheesy stuff when they travel. And the problem is and thank you, Tom, for the gift. Maybe they do. But twice this has happened to me. Thank you, D-Press, where the local embassy people, our embassy people, booked goofy, the big Hilton hotel. And I'm like, no, I want the cute little Moroccan hotel in the old center of the old city. I don't want the Hilton that's in the middle of nowhere that's a 20-story Hilton, with a bunch of Saudis. Why do I want that? Thank you, Chad. And they did the same thing in Indonesia. We went to Bali, and they booked us at a very nice hotel, but in the middle of the rowdy, drunk Australian section. Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Jen. And I was like, I don't want to hang out with a bunch of really loud screaming, no offense, love Australia, but loud screaming drunk Australians? Really? We are going to go to Ubud and everywhere else. Yeah, we're going to go to other places. Thank you, Danan. But the U.S. Embassy people do this all the time. I think, and I guess either it's the locals working in the embassy who think Americans want this, or Americans may want it. Like American business people may come and they want the Hilton, whereas I'm like, I don't want the freaking Hilton. I wanted a cute little Moroccan hotel. Thank you, Jen. And I finally booked myself at the Moroccan hotel. I was like, I'm not staying at the damn Hilton. I mean, I like Hiltons, but not it versus a cute little hotel, So anyway, it's very funny though. Anyway, all right, guys, I'm going to get going. You can swim. Oh, yes, you can. You can go see the dolphins. We are going to go see thank you, Flower Lady. You can do a dolphin tour. I don't know if you swim with them, but you take the boat out. Thank you, Jackie. But you take the boat out to see the dolphins like at dawn or something. So I am going to do that. I packed my swimsuit, of course. So that'll be fun. So we're going to hopefully get to see the dolphins, which will be neat. A little scary too, like any animals. I've seen monkeys before. I'm not so thrilled about the monkeys because I like to think monkeys are cool, but like I met monkeys in Brazil and they terrified me. And my nephew saw the monkeys in Bali and he was like, they were terrifying because they basically jump on your back. They get into your backpack. They pull everything off the damn monkey in Brazil was on my back. So I had one like on my arm, one on the other arm. They're trying to go through your pack for food. And the one sitting jumps on my back, legs hanging down. And he's got my eyes like this. So he's covering my freaking eyes while he's sitting here like a kid, legs down, and his brethren are just ripping open my bags. Oh my God. And my glasses, they're grabbing my sunglasses. I mean, it was like literally, I'm not going to say what I was thinking. TikTok will ban me. It was like little thieves. Little thieves coming and ripping everything off of you. Little child thieves. I'm going to leave it at that. The Europeans know what I'm talking about. It was horrific. Absolutely horrific. All right, guys. I'm going to go. Let's talk to you guys. I won't be seeing you tomorrow. I will be seeing you in 2 weeks. The first official show will be my Saturday show. Hey, Ukranochka, good to see you again. Will be my Saturday show on the 27th for the paid subscribers. That'll be 11 a.m. Eastern Time U.S. And otherwise, I will, as I said, I'll be posting videos, travel videos on TikTok and YouTube. And I will also occasionally just start, when I'm having my morning coffee, maybe just go live with you all, just to give you my impressions. But it's going to be a boring view of my hotel room in Singapore. In Bali, it'll be nicer views. We'll see. And maybe I'll even go live with my phone. The problem is going live with the phone is hard because if I'm walking around, the connection isn't as good. It's a little difficult. So we'll see about that. But I'll certainly be doing travel videos. All right, guys. Have a good night. Lovely seeing everybody. Glad we had a chat. Mods, thank you. And thank you guys for the gifts as well and the well wishes. Thank you, Dawn. Yeah, exactly. Burp, burp. And I will see you all in 2 weeks. But, like I said, I'll be doing lives occasionally and things. They'll just be random. So if you see me go live at some weird hour, this may work better for the Europeans. You never know. Depending on the times I go live, But I'll probably do mornings a lot with my coffee, which means it'll be nighttime in America. Actually, that could work too, because nighttime in America works. And in Europe, it'll be afternoon, which could work too. So that's not true. In Europe, it's the middle of the night. That's true. If I do mornings, it's bad for Europe. That's true. Right. Okay, I'm all confused. I'm tired. All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a good evening. Thank you, guys. First night that I don't reschedule a show when normally I finish and then I schedule the next morning show, but I'm not going to be doing that tonight. Yeah, exactly, Mario. Yeah, no, it's going to be a mess because if I do it there at 10 in the morning, that would be 10 Eastern Time US, which would be 4 a.m., 5 a.m. or so your time, or 6 a.m. So we'll see. It's going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess. I know you are going to have withdrawal. Sorry. All right, guys, let me go. I'm going to go join Mom in the other room. Thank you all. Good to see you all. Thank you.